Rishabh Pant versus MS Dhoni. There's a huge debate raging on social media about who's the better batter when it comes to Test cricket. And I know a lot of you will have different opinions. So we thought, why not bring you the numbers to probably help you decide that who's actually better. So first of all, my good colleague Love Ved is right here with me. And Love, what do you make of this comparison? You saw so many tweets where everybody is saying, "Bhai, Pant is better than MS Dhoni." You know, MS Dhoni, MS Dhoni. I
I mean, there was a time when I thought that you can never draw a comparison with Dhoni, maybe any player, let alone Rishabh Pant. But yes, I'm a firm believer of the fact that you cannot compare generations to start with.
Okay.
But then you ought to draw a comparison when a player suddenly takes cricket by storm, and I think Rishabh Pant has done that. And since Siddhant, he has already scored 6 centuries in Test
It's a
cricket.
good sample size, right?
Right, and that's actually equivalent to what Dhoni has scored in his entire career in Test cricket. We'll obviously discuss that and more about whether what's the impact like of Dhoni and what impact Rishabh Pant has had on Test cricket. But then, for starters, Rishabh Pant is right up there when you talk about MS Dhoni and the league of wicket keepers when it comes to Indian cricket. I think Rishabh Pant is right up there, but
In Test cricket.
in Test cricket,
Test cricket.
yes.
Let's just specify that because honestly, I don't think there's anybody who can sort of match up to Dhoni when it
Absolutely.
comes to ODIs and T20 internationals, also for that matter. The guy has won all the limited overs trophies that there were. So you have to put Dhoni here when it comes to, like, you can't even see I'm going out of the screen right now. That is where Dhoni is when it comes to limited overs cricket. But yes, in the longest format, when you are talking about a wicketkeeper batter,
Right.
I genuinely think that Rishabh Pant will definitely break all the records that any Indian wicketkeeper
Right,
before him
right,
had.
right.
Right?
And
So
Siddhant,
let's.
when I say that we cannot compare generations,
Yeah.
there's a huge debate surrounding the fact that what teams both of them had. When you talk about MS Dhoni, he had to captain the side as well. And remember, in all three formats, Rishabh Pant, on the other hand, has been given a leverage, and he has been told that yes, go out there, express yourself, play your natural brand of cricket. If you see MS Dhoni, when he started playing cricket, he was that flamboyant batter who used to dominate bowlers.
Rishabh Pant has been like that and he's still
Right,
like
right. He's
that.
still like that because he has been given that leverage, right? MS Dhoni, on the other hand, didn't have that. He had to bat lower down the order, and he had to rescue India on most of the occasions. Because remember, India's test record during those days in overseas conditions wasn't that great. But now you
True.
have very good batters, great bowlers.
I think the
rise of
bowling
Jasprit
the,
Bumrah
the
as well.
bowling has helped the batters'
Exactly,
cause, I guess.
exactly. So I think it's a little tough on Dhoni's part. But then yes, when you talk about
No, but at
numbers,
the end of the day, you will end up comparing numbers, right?
absolutely.
Irrespective of that, you'll end up
Absolutely.
comparing numbers. So why not?
So let's just quickly dive into the numbers, and let's quickly show you MS Dhoni's test record, what he had in his entire career. So Dhoni in his entire test career had played 144 innings. He scored 4,876 runs at an average of 38. He had 600s and 33 half centuries to his name. And like we told you that Rishabh Pant, he already has 6 tons. But then he has 11 half centuries till now. But that number will obviously
What's his
rise.
average?
So I'll quickly tell you Rishabh Pant's stats as well till date. So Pant has so far played 58 innings in Test cricket. He has 2,419 runs. His average is over 44. Over 44 average. Yes, he has played a fair amount of matches as well. And to be honest, I think he might just surpass Dhoni in the next match itself.
He might, you never
As
know.
far as hundreds are concerned.
But you look at Rishabh Pant. So there are 600s, by the way, which he has scored. There are 690s that he has scored in Test cricket. Then there was that 89 not out he scored at Gaba.
Dhoni
So-
also has a fair share of 90s.
Fair share of 90s.
Yeah. He has. I think 98, 99, a couple of times he was out on
But
those numbers as well.
six scores of 90s for Rishabh Pant and 189 not out.
Yeah.
I'm going to count it as one of the 90s. So 7 scores, 89 plus 7 more scores, which he could not,
Absolutely,
complete 100. I think that's insane in terms of records. I think this guy is going to surpass any other wicket keeper.
He will.
You know,
for sure.
maybe Adam Gilchrist is the benchmark. I think Gilchrist had 17 test hundreds. Oh, kya banda tha Gilchrist, yaar. So Gilchrist, and if Pant breaks Gilchrist record,
I think he should.
and that'll be something. And he's young. Rishabh Pant is still young. So and
Despite losing those 1.5 years to accident,
so 6 centuries,
Six
six
centuries,
centuries, and he needs 12 more to go past Adam Gilchrist.
Gilchrist.
So
Wow.
let's
Wow,
hope,
wow,
let's hope that happens.
and even when you compare, since we are comparing Dhoni and Rishabh Pant, so let's just take a look at the numbers when Dhoni had played 34 matches, his first 34 test matches, that is, because Pant has so far played 34. If you compare both of them on that part as well, Rishabh Pant has over 600 runs.
In comparison,
In
has
comparison.
600 more runs.
More runs than Dhoni. What he scored in his first 34 matches.
Okay.
So that's the stat as well. So if you compare them on every front, Rishabh Pant is running away with the medal, right?
I think yes. Like, I'm sure you're gonna bring it up because you are a stats guy always, and you must have done your research. But I think what also stands out for me personally is the kind of centuries and scores he has, produced outside India.
Right.
Rishabh Pant, his away record, I think, will be much superior to Dhoni, and the kind of innings he has played. I remember that 100 in Cape Town, I guess it was. Of course, that Gaba knock, you remember. So how many? Like, I'm sure. Please,
Sure,
if you have the numbers.
So I'll quickly tell everyone about the away record. Let's compare it.
Okay.
Dhoni versus Pant in overseas conditions. So Dhoni has played 83 innings. He has scored 2,496 runs at an average of 33, and he has just 100. That too, I think, came against Pakistan in Faisalabad.
Okay.
Pant, on the other hand, has played 43 innings, overseas innings, that is, and he has 1,587 runs at an average of 40, and he has 400s.
400s.
One in England, one in South Africa, in Australia.
Rishabh Pant, Kamal kar ditta, bhai sahab. And
Amazing,
the
right?
Australia tour is gonna follow, and I just hope Pant continues to be in the same kind of form. I think the format also suits him way more. Yes, for Dhoni, I think he was a superior limited overs player.
Absolutely.
And for Pant, we have seen his T20 record. It's not something to write home about when it comes to Rishabh Pant, not Dhoni. Dhoni has a great record for India overall. In T20 eyes, though, his record is also not that great.
Yeah.
Personally, for CSK, his record is amazing. Dhoni's. But for India, his record is not that great when it comes to batting. Rishabh Pant also more or less similar, but when it comes to ODIs, I think there's very little doubt. And plus the captaincy, the captaincy also plays a part. That Dhoni, boss, as I said, oh yeah, Dhoni bhai sahab, limited overs cricket mein. But in Test cricket, looking at that number, love, I have to say that clearly we've got a better batter at least on our hands when it comes to cricket. Pant and Dhoni comparison.
To sum it up, Siddhant, I feel that if Dhoni is a giant of ODI cricket, I think Pant is a monster in tests.
Is becoming a monster in test. I think he'll be a monster in test when he will surpass Adam Gilchrist. That's the benchmark.
Okay.
17 test hundreds and the kind of impact Gilchrist had for Australia. I just hope if Rishabh Pant can even match that, we're going to win some crazy number of test series away from home. We're going to win some great matches like the one we did at Gaba. Every time I look at anybody talks about Pant, I just remember what he did at Gaba. And that just, pushes that in your mind that, boss, this format is the best suited for when it comes to Rishabh Pant.
And who thought it that way, right?
Like Sehwag also
burst onto the scene in the IPL, scoring those centuries for Delhi Daredevils back then, and everyone thought that he will take T20 cricket by storm. But then he failed to find his feet in the shortest format. But then suddenly
he has played so many T20s, boss. So many.
I think it's over 70 T20 internationals, 70 or 80
60s it was anyway during the T20 World Cup, so it must be nearing 70.
And suddenly, here's a guy who was given a go in Test cricket, and rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah, definitely think he's gonna break many more records for India when it comes to Test cricket, and let's hope for that. India-Australia follows, after the India-New Zealand series. First, though, there's the Bangladesh second Test in Kanpur. So I'm just hoping this Test season Kamal kar de kuch Pant, maybe take that number from 6 to 10, and that'd be something, In Australia, 2-3, maybe that will just.
Yeah, man. 9 Test matches, almost 18 innings left before the World Test Championship final, so he may as well reach the 10 ton mark.
Double digits, double
Double
digits.
digit mark, 10 ton.
So do let us know in the comments. You got all the numbers from Love. You got all our opinion also when it comes to Rishabh Pant versus MS Dhoni in Test cricket. Do let us know what you make of that comparison. Yes, Dhoni was a great captain, was the superior being overall when it comes to limited overs cricket. But when you look at just pure numbers, Rishabh Pant is clearly, has clearly gone past Dhoni in that
Absolutely.
regards, right?
And the world is talking about him, and all teams are at the moment wary of Rishabh Pant.
Everybody
That
is,
you have to
such an
keep him
impact
at
player.
bay if you want to win the test.
Such
So
an
that's
impact
the
player
impact.
because he
Right.
can take the game away from you in an instant. One session is all it will take him to, change the game completely, and
Yeah, turn the momentum.
that's what Rishabh Pant is all about. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please do like, share, subscribe, and let us know in the comments again what you make of this comparison. Thank you for watching.